Well, let's start off by passing you the psilocybin mic. Why
Thank
don't you
you.
tell us your name?
My name is Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson. So what brings you here to Jamaica?
I am here for healing. I came for this retreat to um, find healing. 2.5 years ago, I lost my oldest son to suicide. And about a year ago, I started working with plant medicine to heal from that. And um, this was just an opportunity for me to just continue on that journey of healing.
Yeah. So your first experience with plant medicine was psilocybin?
It was not. It was Kana, and um, I also had some experience with sassafras.
Sassafras. And what is it that you like about psilocybin?
Psilocybin, it allows me to leave kind of my mind, that we have that part of us that's always thinking and always processing and always controlling everything. And my whole life I've lived up in my mind. And I've learned there's a lot of ways where we can receive knowledge and receive information.
Yeah.
Our mind, our heart, our body, our spirit. And psilocybin allows me to leave that part of my mind that is just continually reliving that trauma and go into my heart and spirit and find healing in myself.
Okay. And last night we had an experience with psilocybin, our first night here officially in Jamaica with the medicine. Would you mind sharing how that went for you and how it helped you heal even further?
Yeah. So my intention was to, I have the core wound of abandonment that keeps coming up in my life. And that loss of my son exacerbated that. It kind of, that was another experience in my life where I felt abandoned by someone. And I have to, as I process and as I grow and I learn more, I'm able to come back and look at that and see it and grow with it and then heal. And then I grow a little bit and then I come back to it. I have the opportunity to see it as a new person. And so it was time for me to look at that again. I didn't know that it was going to revolve around my son. The medicine does what it wants to do with you, right? It's the teacher. And I've learned to surrender to that. So I sat with the medicine. It didn't take me very long to feel like I was starting to feel the effects of the medicine. And we had a sound bath going, just beautiful sound bowls, beautiful music, lots of love in that room, lots of intention.
Yeah.
In that community. It was just beautiful. And I was laying down on a couch and I kind of I left my body to the point, what I mean by that is I didn't know where I was. I wasn't aware of my surroundings. And when my wife found my son, when he died, she screamed, and that's how I knew something was wrong. And I heard that scream, and I was back to that experience. And I didn't, and then it stopped, it paused. And Spirit, Source, God told me that I had the opportunity to erase that experience. Not to erase the loss of my son, but to erase the pain, the suffering, the grief. Okay. And time stopped. I believe it felt like an hour or two where I was trying to determine whether or not I wanted to keep that or just be able to forget it. And after a long period of time of just thinking about it, I realized that memory, that experience is what has brought me here to where I'm at now, and I want to be here. I wouldn't want to change that. I wouldn't want to change those feelings because of the growth that I've had. I wouldn't want to change that grief because that grief is connected to the love I have for my son, and so I chose to keep it. And then it started again. And I had to experience that. I had to go through that again. Feel all the feelings, remember everything that happened. But the feelings, even though it was the same grief, like it's hard to explain because it wasn't different, but it was bearable, and it was, I would say, exquisite, and it was horrible. But the difference was that I was able to be in choice. I chose that experience.
Yeah.
And I was able to it felt like I was taking my power back instead of being a victim and powerless. I was choosing to be there. And even though I still had all of those feelings, it was just very empowering. And as I fell into that grief with my son, I kind of was receiving downloads, information, truth that you can't have grief without love. And I saw this tree with its roots in the ground, and the tree was love. And one of the branches is grief. And I could feel, as I felt that grief, and I just sat with it, I didn't reject it. I didn't try to cover it up, which is what I would do if I wasn't with medicine, right? If I wasn't on psilocybin, I would often try to cover that up. But because I was with plant medicine, I was able to just feel it, and that grief was able just to morph into that love. And so even though it was still very painful and very horrifying, I was able to have some healing, understanding that those feelings are just that, just love. And it allowed me to look at how that causes me to hold back from my other children, my friends, and some of my friends, where I have feared losing those people. Mm-hmm. Losing another child is the worst fear I have. But I was able to see that that's causing me to hold back a little bit of my love for my children, for my friends. And it's going to allow me, as I integrate, to break down those walls, and so I can let that love be there. Yeah. But it also just lets me remember my son and remember my experiences with him, and like I'm going to be able to face that grief as it comes back. Yeah. And just let it flow and let it go back into that tree of love, you know?
Yeah, I love that you said it's almost like it's the other side of the coin of grief is love. It shows you how deep you can love.
Yeah.
And Ram Dass often refers to this phrase. He says, the horrible beauty of existence.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's this coin and there's both sides that we're harmonizing here, especially with psilocybin. It's amazing how it showed you all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing how much psilocybin did you have last night?
I had 4 grams of psilocybin.
And is that a big dose for you, or?
It's probably average for me.
Okay.
I would say 3 to 4 grams is what I would normally do. Yeah.
And what is it about psilocybin that helps you go there? Because, you mentioned you might have been kind of averting from the feelings or facing that. How does psilocybin help you to go there?
I don't know how it does it, but the feeling is that so with the set and setting, with the group, with the intention of healing, and everyone had an intention of some type of healing or growth. It provides you a safe space, a safe container, where usually our ego and our mind wants to keep control and not lose control. And with psilocybin, it allows your ego to, in a lot of ways, shut down and not receive. It doesn't try to control you. It doesn't try to change you. It doesn't try to cover anything up. In my experience with psilocybin, every time I have sat with psilocybin, I see the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm, you could say, forced to see it, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You find truth. when
I,
you're
I
there.
joke about it being forced surrender, but I don't know if
It
that's the
is.
right
You're right.
word. But
Once we choose to
yeah,
take it, then it's surrender. I mean,
yeah,
it's not forced, but then once you take it, you force. It is forced
yeah.
surrender.
It's like peeling the layers off. It's doing it for you. It's
Yeah.
almost like your ego. They often refer to psychedelic experiences being somewhat of an ego death.
Yeah.
And I think it really happens on a spectrum. Like there's a little bit of a dissolving going on of the ego,
Hmm.
allowing you to go into these spaces that we don't normally
Yeah.
see or feel. So,
Yeah. I think another thing that psilocybin does for me is um, we we think that the answers for everything are out there, right? We
yeah,
think we want to find a guru or someone to tell us what to do, or um, someone to just say this is where you find happiness, and we all have our truth inside us.
yeah,
And so as you leave your head, as you leave your ego, and you're able to go in your heart, you can find truth, and it's your truth.
yeah,
And everybody else that I was with last night found their truth, and then they testify of it the next day, and it's it's
yeah.
beautiful, like that we're all finding healing with community,
Hmm.
with others, like with the people I interacted with. I found healing, but
Yeah.
most importantly, we all found it here in ourselves.
I love that. And this container we had here last night in Jamaica, it's beautiful that way. Like it's not often that we're able to go deep inward and have the support around us like that,
Yes.
which I loved. And in fact, we're going to be doing another experience tonight. And yeah, I would love to follow up with you again on how that goes.
Awesome.
But
I'd
yeah,
love to
thank you
talk.
for meeting with me. And I love that you're sharing your story so openly, and super grateful to learn from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.